There's a good chance by the time you're watching this, we are back over 10K. YouTubers and large Twitter accounts are losing their minds telling people the price is going to 14K within a few days. And it may well do just that. But what if it doesn't? You see, the volatility is where the rubber meets the road in crypto. I'm going to explain to you today why the price of Bitcoin is going to $1 million. But only the strongest investors will be able to ride it all the way. Today, we're going to separate the weak from the strong. Let's get it. Hello and welcome to BitBoyCrypto, your one-stop shop for all things related to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. If this is your first time here, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. To take the conversation even further, then please make sure to join one of my two Telegram groups, BitSquad for crypto chat or BitSquad traders to discuss trading strategies. Alright guys, today we are going to be looking at Bitcoin heading to $1 million, but this will not be a straight road. My goal today is to prepare you for what is to come. When you envision $1 million Bitcoin, you are probably thinking about the things you will be doing. You may be riding on a yacht, smoking a cigar. You may be on the back porch of your mansion bird watching. You may have even traded in your old wife for a new one.
The worst trade deal ever made.
And for some of you, you are finally going to be able to make it out of your mom's basement. You see, when we envision achieving our goals, we simply look at the end, the final score. But there's so much in the middle that has to occur for us to get there, and Bitcoin is volatile. Back in February, life was good for Bitcoin. We were crushing 10K, heading toward 11K before getting sent all the way back down to 3,900 in a matter of weeks. I saw people left and right giving up. There was anger, fear, and disappointment. And to be fair, that was an absolutely huge drop, one of the biggest we have ever seen. Bitcoin is not immune to drops, and there is a good chance, even if we go up to 12K this week, that we'll return down to the 7,000s after the halving. And I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not one of those guys who says, send it to 3K so I can buy more. I'm ready for Moon. Let's do this. But if it does drop, I'm prepared. Are you? Because while a drop from 11K to 4K sounds depressing, how are you going to handle a drop from 111K to 40K? How will you be able to stomach that one? The strongest crypto investors have hands of steel. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't trade, buy the bottom, or sell the top, but it does mean that they do not panic. They view drops as opportunities. The whole bear market, where the price dropped to 3K, was an opportunity for them to accumulate more Bitcoin and more crypto at bargain basement prices. If you truly want to become a millionaire one day, then you need to put yourself in that mindset. If you bought in during the crash in March where Bitcoin was less than $5,000, then you are feeling pretty great right now. But you have to remember that your feelings are your enemy. Financial markets are based entirely on human psychology. Those little red and green candles you see on Bitcoin charts are based upon human behavior. Technical analysis has nothing to do with trying to figure out the intrinsic value of an asset. That's not even a real thing. A piece of gold is only worth the current value based upon how much a human is willing to pay for it. And obviously, Bitcoin prices are based on the exact same thing. Price movements are anchored by the actions of humans, so technical analysis is charting human behavior, the likelihood for the majority of humans invested in an asset to buy or sell based on previous patterns. The point here is that the markets already know at what times you are going to want to FOMO into an asset and when you are going to want to panic sell. You have to use this to your advantage and basically counter trade your feelings. When you understand this, then you are much more likely to stay on an even keel and be a successful crypto investor. Now we're about to talk about why $1 million is in play for Bitcoin in the next 24 months. But this first part was extremely important because you have to understand this journey will not be easy. I want you to be prepared for it. The next 2 years may be the craziest time period of your entire life, and it can set you up for the rest of your life if you play it correctly. So let's take a look at this recent thread by hedge fund investor Raoul Pal. He shows that if you go by the classic charting techniques, the estimated price of Bitcoin would be heading toward 40K. Great, 40K. Enough to make you some money, but certainly not enough to retire on. However, if we examine the logarithmic chart for Bitcoin and use the same classic wedge charting technique, suddenly we see a potential for Bitcoin to hit $1 million. The standard deviation move would be for Bitcoin to go to $400,000 according to stock to flow chart, but the ceiling for potential is much higher than that. The moves Bitcoin has made in the last week have broken us above key technical areas. In crypto, we call this a breakout, and when Bitcoin breaks out, there's no telling how high it can go. We have looked at the infamous stock to flow chart several times. It is the most accurate in Bitcoin history, and it is now showing increased potential. When we have sudden price moves before the halving event, it increases the likelihood for higher prices in the months following the halving. But as we talked about earlier, there still is a strong possibility we will see volatility to the downside immediately following the event. Raoul Pal sums up this beautifully in his last 2 tweets of this thread. He says, "This is one of the best setups in any asset class I've ever witnessed. Technical, fundamental, flow of funds, and plumbing. All now. Again, to be clear, even if it has 90% odds, doesn't mean it's definitely going to work, and I can and will be wrong, often and dramatically. Good luck. Expect horrific volatility, both up and down. But you can't make 5x, 10x, or 100x returns without large drawdowns, so be careful how much you put in. It always feels like you have too little until it doesn't, and then you wish you didn't have so much." Wow, what a summary. I want to break this down into 2 different points. The first is that the perfect storm we've all been talking about for years now is here. Economies are collapsing. Dollars are inflating. People are panicking. This is what Bitcoin was built for. BTC did not cause this, but thank God we have it during this time. The second point is to be prepared for horrific volatility. He says you can expect up to 100x returns if you play it right and ride out the terrible downswings. And I think he's dead on here. Sounds a little different when a hedge fund manager is talking 100x with Bitcoin as opposed to a cartoon animal on Twitter. And Powell is not alone. Recently, Paul Tudor Jones, another huge Wall Street investor and philanthropist, has also jumped into Bitcoin. He is calling it the largest opportunity since gold in the 1970s. Man, wouldn't you have liked to have been able to buy a few ounces in the 70s? Of the gold stuff, of course. While many hippies were going to disco clubs and getting high smoking weed, investors were making bank off of the rise in gold. So the question is, what do you want to be remembered for? The opportunity to become an absolute legend is right in front of you at this current moment. But what are you going to do when you jump into Bitcoin at 10K only to see it drop back down to 7,000? If you freak out and panic, then the opportunity will be missed. However, if you develop strong hands that will hold crypto even when the prices drop, then you will have what it takes to make it. Of course, this doesn't mean hodl from the top of the market down to the bottom in a bear market. Be smart, read books, listen to traders, but most importantly, learn your own research methods and figure out how to analyze the current market conditions. It is extremely important to learn those things now because we're about to experience Bitcoin hysteria again. I can feel it coming. I see new people popping in the space left and right. But when the mania hits a fever pitch, you are going to be absolutely euphoric. Every waking moment, you are going to want to be checking your portfolio to see how much money you made since the last time that you checked it. But that euphoria will cloud your vision and you won't be able to make intelligent decisions. It will feel like it's going up forever. Even if Bitcoin hits $1 million, it will likely drop down again. 1 million isn't an endpoint for this volatile market. Use this time to learn how to research, analyze, and make sure to check your emotions at the door. But now it's your turn. Do you believe that the price of Bitcoin can get to $1 million? Or do you think this is all just a fantasy? please make sure to drop your comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe to become a member of the fastest growing community in crypto, the Bit Squad. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day. BitBoy out.